Okay, so today's task is to make a video about places and spaces of learning. Thomas, you have been teaching for a while. What is your take on this issue?
I always thought that buildings dedicated to teaching are the places where learning happened. Schools have been part of my life since I was 4 years old. First as student, later on as teacher. The cozy comfort of the classroom with its lights and steady arrangement of desks and people, everybody knowing their place in it. The questions asked were always the ones you were supposed to give an answer to. Not because the other person, the teacher, actually wanted to know something, but because they wanted to see if you had the answer he had in mind. If you did, you got a pat on the back or a colourful sticker.
You don't sound very happy with this arrangement. What has changed?
Well, a university where I had to study something I had no affinity for, but my dad thought it would be good for me. I dropped out after the first semester, but it turned out to be the most formative experience in terms of redefining the spaces where I learned. The window at the end of the corridor where we had long nights of talking about philosophy, ideas, literature, music. The pub where I met more people and more ideas. It was here that I finally realized that the essential ingredient of learning are mutual respect, a sense of curiosity, collaboration, and open-ended questions.
You can't honestly say that schools should be replaced by pubs or parks or the window at the end of the corridor.
Space can facilitate or inhibit learning, but there are no spaces that inevitably do one or the other. Since my first daughter was born, I watched the amazing process of her learning. The things she picks up unlimited by place. Her learning, let it be 2 languages or using the iPad or singing songs with Elmo or cooking, is driven by her passion for learning, experimenting, finding things out for herself, not taking no for an answer, not accepting warnings without testing their validity, asking uncomfortable questions, challenging accepted wisdom. This is the kind of learning I want to take place in my classroom as well.
Yes. But at different stages learners need different kind of teaching, don't you think?
Schools by and large have become places where a lot of teaching takes place and where a lot of effort is made to inhibit learning by setting rules that limit the natural curiosity we all have, and turn students into receptors instead of inquirers, test takers instead of risk takers. They use their learning skills to adopt techniques of survival with the least possible effort. Students in a school context are rarely respected, therefore they have little respect for their teachers. Their curiosity is deflated by ready-made answers in teachers' yellowing notes and fast-aging textbooks. They are hardly ever involved in collaboration. Even when working in pairs or groups, they are expected to perform routine tasks because all the questions they are asked have already been answered by the teacher or the textbook.
But don't you think learners need to have lexical knowledge? And those are in the heads of teachers and written in books. Why go on wild goose chases when the answers are already there?
Because knowledge acquired for passing a test or handing in a composition will not last. It's knowledge acquired by satisfying one's curiosity that leads to learning, and asking new questions and building up a unique and personalized knowledge base that defines one's personality and the unique contribution they can offer to the world. Turning schools and the workplace into real learning zones is a challenge of these days, and bringing down the walls of these institutions to let in the air of curiosity, creativity, respect, collaboration, and open-ended questions is an imperative traditional places of learning have yet to embrace.
That all sounds very nice and one can get very enthusiastic about it. But it all sounds a bit airy-fairy.
Maybe. But look at what's happening. Millions opt out of these preordained spaces of learning and create their own virtual or physical learning spaces. We all know that the answers are out there already. We just have to find the questions we are really interested in and then finding the ways of reaching answers by research, query, debate, more research and more debates, which lead to new and better questions, which cannot be predicted by a curriculum, a textbook or a teacher.
I see where you are going with this. I'm still not 100% convinced, but I agree that schools as institutions should really embrace the possibilities that are out there, and take learning outside the school building and bring the outside world into the classroom. What is important is that we have to have these conversations.
I absolutely agree. I think this is what good moocs can do, for example. Intelligent conversations about topics many of us are interested in. These conversations contribute to the answer on the whole and develop and deepen the thinking of those who take part.